Femininity. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are not new here, and if you are new here, welcome to my channel. I'm Chiara, you can call me Dolce, and this is my pink room. Y'all, I'm so sorry I had you guys waiting for so long. Look, your girl's been super busy, but I've been productive. I got a lot of things out of the way this summer that I really needed to do, and goals that I had. I've got them accomplished, and I am finally at a point where I'm a little bit less busy and I can breathe and talk to you guys again. So thank you for joining me today. We were in the middle of talking about pretty girl problems, and if you haven't checked out my podcast, please do so. It's kind of the same exact thing. It's called Honey and Hot Sauce, and right now I'm talking about pretty girl problems. It's a series that is very much needed in this society. And if you're not following me here on this channel, please do so and turn on your notifications so that you can be notified whenever a new video comes out. Let's go ahead and get into this topic. Pretty girl problem number 6, the long-awaited topic, the struggle of femininity. Now, I really wish that I had all the answers to give you about how to be more feminine, etc. But to be honest, I realized that I struggle with that myself. That's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it. And actually, I can really appreciate the fact that it's becoming a way more widely spread topic that's being talked about on social media and in society and amongst women, because it's very helpful to all of us who would love to embrace our feminine energy a lot more. And for those of us who may have been embracing it and have been shamed for it up until now. Also, I want to give myself the opportunity to delve into it so that I could talk about it for this episode. And that way I can actually learn about it and hopefully help someone else who might feel the same way. So maybe I'm weird or maybe I'm old school, but what I've been learning so far about gender roles and traditional feminism and femininity, I've really been enjoying. And I'm like, yeah. And I know I get it, like that for the most part, gender roles are not going to be portrayed in today's world as they would have been in the 50s. In the 50s, the women didn't work. All they did was take care of the house. That was work. Cook, clean, kids. That's what they did. And everything inside the house, while the men did everything outside the house. Work, cars, stuff like that, which is still to a degree, like we still kind of see it the same way. Like the men cut the grass, the men change the oil in the cars, the men wash and clean the cars, the men kill the bugs, the women cook, the women clean the house, the women take care of the kids, the women are nurturers. However, I totally understand that it's not feasible in today's society to live off of one income unless the man is making like 6, 7, 8 figures, okay? And then according to Kevin Samuels, there's a whole different way of life and a whole different way of thinking and a whole different lifestyle that some of us really don't want as much as we think we do. Okay, let me just talk about that on episode 7, okay? However, I can say that it's not exactly my goal to be like the top managerial supervisor or to be wearing button-up shirts and pencil skirts and negotiating with men and doing all the manly type of corporate work either. Like, of course, I still love being an entrepreneur. I do love working for myself and things of that nature, but I also really love being in the house. I also really love cooking every day at 5 o'clock, 5:30, like, and serving dinner at 6. You know, I love having that evening routine that quarantine allowed me. Like, if quarantine has not taught me anything, it taught me that I love being a house mom, housewife, being readily available for whenever my daughter needs me, and the whole dinner time at the same time every night, like trying new recipes. That really felt just so fulfilling. I think I realized that maybe it's in me more than I thought it was before. Now, of course, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a woman who wants to be successful in the corporate scene. I'm not trying to come against any women that want to be in that life. But what I'm saying is that I'm slightly concerned about the era of Neo's Year of the Gentleman and Destiny's Child's Independent Woman that a lot of us have taken it to the extreme where we literally started to say, I don't need no man, all the women independent, throw your hands up at me, you know. And it took us away from being soft and delicate and turned us into being hard and tough. Like, think about it. I remember even passing that down to younger girls and saying, like, you can be strong, you can be this. Like that time of the month commercials, oh, strength, you know. It's such a very popular message to talk about women's strength and women being stronger than men and women being tougher than men and women being, like, there was a whole throw like a girl, fight like a girl, all that stuff that was, I guess it was supposed to be reversed from like girls not being good enough to girls being better than boys. But at the end of the day, it's kind of detrimental because it makes us subconsciously say that we want to be as strong as a man. And depending on you, whoever's watching, you might be offended by me saying that statement, but at the end of the day, like, I don't want to be. I don't want to be as strong as a man, because then they respond with, okay, she's as strong as me. She can go do that thing that, you know, most women don't want to do. Like, if the car breaks down, you ran out of gas, like, you can push the car. You're as strong as me. You can push the car. Like, I don't want to push the car. I don't want to push the car. Or the grass needs to be cut. You can cut the grass. I don't want to cut the grass. I have a record, okay? I've never cut grass before in my life. I don't plan to ever cut grass in my life. Okay? No. I would love if I didn't have to ever kill spiders. Like, I'm just saying, I don't want to be a man. I don't want to be a man. I'm fine being a woman. I enjoy being a woman. I enjoy being soft. I enjoy being delicate. Also, which is the reason I wore these earrings, in case anyone's wondering. Like, they look a little fancy, but I felt like they were very dainty and just okay. So now look, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we can't be Supergirls. I'm not saying that we can't be boxers, MMA fighters, even football players. There are plenty of awesome women who do these things. But what I'm saying is, when we're dealing with men, don't try to compete with them. Like, don't try to compete with... I just hope it makes sense. Like, if you're an orange, don't try to be an apple. People love oranges for what they are, and people love apples for what they are. Don't try to turn an orange into an apple, because apples don't have thick peels. And if apples had thick peels, it would probably be disgusting. It would probably be just kind of, I don't know. I hope y'all don't take this the wrong way and think that I'm talking about trans people, because I'm not talking about trans people at all. I'm just saying that me, as a straight woman who is naturally born a woman with a womb, and I'm not interested in being anything other than that. I'm not going to try in certain aspects to be anything other than that when it seems maybe beneficial to me or convenient to me. Like, I will never race a guy on who can pick up the check the fastest. Okay? Like, I will never arm wrestle a guy. Like, maybe I would arm wrestle a guy, but just out of fun, like, not to actually be stronger than him, because if I'm stronger than him, then I probably lost all respect for him. I will never try to tell him I'll pump my own gas. Like, yeah, you can pump my gas. Like, I remember my own brother fussing me out because I was about to pump my own gas and he was with me. He was like, you better get back in the car. Don't you ever try to pump your own gas when a guy is around. If a man's around you, don't ever try to pump your own gas. And I appreciate that there are some guys who actually will fuss you out if you try to touch a door handle, if you try to pick up the check, go in your purse, try to pump your gas, things like that. Like, yeah, go ahead, do that. Thank you. I appreciate it. I freaking love it, and I will never argue with a man over that. Never. Side note, for anyone who thinks that chivalry is dead, let's resurrect it. Okay. All right. Like, honestly, don't you miss being treated like you need to be protected. Like, just imagine this movies where the women, there were scenes where the women were just like so graceful, and like the men were carrying her and falling down over to see who can pick up the pencil that she dropped, give her a handkerchief when she sneezed, and like defending her honor, like fighting over her to win her. I'm here for that. I really miss that kind of stuff. I love that kind of stuff. I've always loved that kind of stuff, and they don't make them like that anymore. Like, it's few and far in between now. It's just something that you don't see much, and I blame us. It's our fault because we were so desperate to be like the men. With women's suffrage came so many other issues. And that's not to say that I'm completely against women's rights. I consider myself a feminist, but I think I'm more of like an adaptive feminist or a traditional feminist. I feel like, why did so many men decide that the answer to allowing us to vote and work had to result in them no longer trying to lead us? Why did they have to assume that we didn't want our doors open for us? Oh, that's because we started fussing them out for doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just kind of got too far. And let me just say, it kind of sucks that we have to even have this conversation and that this is becoming a whole movement, but I'm glad it is. And I'm also glad that it's being way more widely accepted than it would have been 10, 11 years ago. And there are so many things that we as women want from men, but we refuse to use our actual powers to get them. Instead, we try to use men's powers to get them. No, boo. That's not how you do it. Like, you got to use your feminine power, not your masculine power, to win a masculine man. Like, okay, example, magnets. Okay, if you want to attract, magnets have a south end and a north end, right? If you try to put the north end with the north end, they will repel each other, right? But if you turn it around and use the south end, they go whoop, like easy, right? So if we want to attract a north magnet, we can't be north magnets. We have to be south magnets. Does that make sense? If we want to attract a north magnet, we have to become a south magnet, and vice versa. I hope I didn't mix that up, but you know what I'm saying. You just have to be not what they are if you want to attract them. Another example is salsa dance lessons, any type of ballroom lesson. Oh my gosh, I think this is the perfect analogy, actually. Have you ever been to a class where you learned that the man leads? In ballroom dance, the man leads. But if you go to like a party that is in that same genre, and there's ballroom dancing, and someone is there who doesn't know, who hasn't taken the class, and you can tell, like, it shows because the woman is leading, it looks crazy. It looks crazy. And like, if you don't know, I'm gonna tell you now, it looks crazy because there's hand signals that the man is supposed to give you that tell you to turn. There's hand signals that he gives you that tell you to go this way, go that way. He can dip you, all that stuff. But if a woman is trying to lead, and the man, and that in combination with the man not having a clue what he's supposed to be doing, like, it just looks like a bunch of this. It's no coincidence that that's how it looks in dance, but we should take that with us everywhere. Like, let the man lead. And then the hard part about it is, if there's something that he's supposed to be doing and he doesn't do it, it won't get done. Just let it not get done. Don't take it upon yourself. And this is definitely our response to a man who cannot lead or is struggling with something that might prevent him from leading the way he should. And we naturally, maybe, is that naturally? I don't know. We want to respond with, all right, fine, I'll do it because he's not going to do it. I'm not going to let no man lead me into a ditch. You know what I'm saying? However, that's something that we got to work on, ladies. Like, that's a hard one. I totally understand. It's a very hard one to give up. It's a very hard set of reins to let go of, especially if you've been so used to holding the reins because there was no man there, or the man who was there didn't know what he was doing. And that's where we have a gift called intuition, where we need to tap into it when choosing a mate. If you can trust him to lead, then you can sit back and relax in your femininity, and you don't have to worry about whether he's going to be the man that he's supposed to be or not. Hope that makes sense. I love the way Jill Scott put it. If you can tell me what to do, then you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do. I love it because that's exactly how it is. Like, we gotta pick. We're not just any old man is not gonna lead us, okay? Just any old man, just because he's a man, is not gonna be able to tell you what to do. It has to be the right one. We have to decide that. And then once we decide it, we don't renege on it. Make sure you got that. Use your discernment and your intuition to choose your suitor and choose someone that you can actually trust. Once the trust is strong, then everything else falls into place. And it can actually be easy to follow a man's lead when you trust. To me, that's the true definition of a down chick, because even if you don't know what his plan is, if you can trust him, it doesn't matter what his plan is. It doesn't matter if he's got it figured out yet. You trust him and you know that he's gonna figure it out, and you're with him regardless. That's a true down chick, not somebody that's down without knowing. That man has to be someone that you know is smart and responsible. It's not going to be reckless with his life or yours or the kids. Someone that's kind, someone that you know is not going to leave you hanging, someone who's confident, and someone who will get it done. He's a winner, he's a go-getter, he's a doer. That's the type of man you can be down for, and that's the type of man you can follow and submit to. Like, imagine dancing with a man and expecting him to lead, but he has no idea how to salsa, has never done it before. I'd be, thank you so much, I'm gonna have a seat now, okay. Then I'd wait for the man with the right and the left foot to come and whisk me away, okay? Honestly, that's the best thing in the world when they can do that. Let's move on to me growing up and why I say I struggle with femininity and tapping into mine. And it's because I grew up in an environment where it was shamed, it was discouraged to a degree, and it kind of speaks to, I kind of briefly touched on this in, I think it was episode 1 of Pretty Girl Problems, about being pretty, being told you're ugly just because you're pretty, like not being allowed to be pretty and act pretty and believe in your beauty. Beauty and femininity go together, okay? They go together, hand in hand. And if you grow up in an environment where you're not technically allowed to embrace your beauty or to be too pretty because it's being grown or it's being too sexy or it's being provocative, and even though it's not, it can cause you subconsciously to push away your femininity. They look like, from the surface level, wearing dresses, walking gracefully, with the twitch in your hips, doing your hair and your makeup, grooming, caring about your appearance. Things that some people would quickly consider vain, and where the way I grew up, it was considered vain and too grown. And really, I think that what was encouraged, maybe not directly, but indirectly, was asexuality. Like, we weren't allowed to be men or women. We weren't allowed to date. We weren't allowed to even say that we had crushes on the guys, the boys. Like, we just had to be wholly genderless beings. And it would result in us being alone. I'm my own man and I'm my own woman, and it's just me and God. Like, it was pretty extreme. I think I told y'all I grew up in a cult, and that kind of living like really sucks. But it was so, it became normal. Like I wouldn't say that I was masculine, but I was in like a purgatory of gender roles and gender identities, I think. Like, I knew I was a female, and I knew that I was straight, and I knew that I loved pink and girliness and Barbies, and I knew that I liked guys, boys, but I always had to suppress a lot of those things. And yeah, it was really, really weird. We literally never talked about dating. We never talked about sex. We never talked about relationships and how to make them successful. Nothing like that. All we talked about was make sure you're tithing and giving and ministering the gospel. And if we saw someone of the opposite sex, we had to like shun them and act like we were just not interested, immediately angry with them. And if we just happened to see somebody dating, like, we had to call them out, we had to embarrass them. It was a lot of really bad stuff. It just wasn't conducive to learning and growing in femininity. This is a hard word to say. Femininity at all. So needless to say, for a long time, until my early adulthood, I was stuck in that and not even realizing that it was a thing to pay attention to. Of course, once I got out of that cult, I kind of had to navigate on my own, honestly. There was a lot of things that I didn't get to talk about with my mom or my friends at the time, because it was just like a taboo conversation to have about relationships and how to deal with men and being feminine. So yeah, as I maneuvered with life, I learned a lot about femininity through conversations with the regular people. Let's say I had a whole lot of catching up to do. Like, side note, I remember meeting Angela Yee once, and I told her that I learned so much about sex straight from her and her podcast Lip Service, because there was so much that I really didn't know. And when did Lip Service come out? Like, not too long ago. Okay, I learned a lot about sex because of her podcast, and she was like, what? Well, I'm glad to help. But I was like, yeah, I just had to let you know that, because it's my truth. Okay, I'm learning a lot about femininity as I go, and I think that I have slightly an advantage just from naturally being like a type B personality and an ENFP, which I think is often linked to femininity and compared to femininity. Like, for example, just being bubbly, just being like happy-go-lucky, I guess, like outspoken, being gentle, sometimes passive, kind. A lot of those things kind of automatically nurturing, they kind of automatically go with the feminine nature. So I really appreciate people like Simply Shanika, because it shows me, yes, it's fine to be that way, but don't become a doormat because of it. Also, I'm really appreciative of Anna Bay, because she reminds us to embrace our femininity and not be shamed for it, which a lot of people are quick to do. People will be quick to shame you for your actual femininity, which is crazy. Honestly, I have to say, a lot of people feel certain ways about Kevin Samuels, but he makes valid points on femininity as well, although he is a whole different topic altogether. Next episode. I got to. It's less aggressive of the two energies. It's the receiver, it's the soft side. And when dealing with the two energies together, we have to be able to step back, let the man pursue, provide, and plan. And I think that's why we are anatomically built the way we are. We have more fat because we are the softer of the two genders. Fat is softer than muscle. Fat is more lightweight than muscle. The fat is what helps us to incubate and birth babies. And we have naturally smaller frames. And that's just a physical representation of how we should carry ourselves. Soft, gentle, light. It's literally not up to us to ask someone out, plan, or pay. And he's supposed to be the pursuer. So if we switch roles up on him, like, that kind of just puts everything out of whack. So I do kind of sometimes feel like I have an advantage because of my personality type, but then I also feel like I have a disadvantage because of the way I was brought up. Like, I was brought up in a single parent household where my mom had to be the provider and the protector. And then my brother moved out when I was like 9. So of course my preteens and my teens, it was literally just women in the house. Me, my sister, my mom, us three, up until I was married. And that caused us to be the ones to have to provide and protect for ourselves. I did say that I've never cut my own grass or anything before, but I'm pretty sure my mom has cut the grass a few times, you know? It's very likely that I could have cut the grass if I was of a certain age when we weren't hiring other people to do it. It put us in a position where if it came down to it, we had to be the ones to take out the trash, pay for everything, cut the grass again, carry the heavy loads, kill the bugs, defend ourselves, plow the snow, pump our gas, push our cars if they broke down or we're out of gas, change our oil, all that kind of stuff, it would have been on us. And some of those things have been on us to do ourselves because there was literally no men around. And subconsciously, it kind of made me start to think like a provider. And I kind of hate saying that out loud, but it kind of made me become the type of person that didn't want to have to rely on anyone else, because I didn't want them to let me down or not come through. And I'm actually a peacemaker. Like, my mom describes me as a peacemaker all the time, but sometimes that results in me saying, okay, I'll do it. All right, I'll do it, so that y'all won't argue about it, or that this person won't argue, or so that it gets done. I'll just take care of it. And that's kind of a masculine thing too. Like, for example, whenever my brother did come visit, there were some times where my mom would be like, oh, you're finally here, can you take out the trash? And he'd be like, dang, I don't even live here, like, I don't gotta take out the trash. And they would start arguing. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna just take out the trash, doggone it, forget it. And honestly, I feel like a lot of us tap into masculine energy for the same reason, which is to create peace, or to appease to a man, and we just don't know the right way to do it. Like, for example, I was dating this guy before, and I thought I was doing a great thing. I thought I was being a good woman by paying for his dinner on his birthday. That was a big mistake, because after that, he like just changed up on me. Like, he was originally paying for everything, and then suddenly he was like, I don't have to pay for it. I don't have to do anything to get her. And he expected me to pay for things myself. He tried to bring it up during an argument one time, like, I always pay for blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wait, are you trying to tell me that you don't want it, or you can't pay for that? Because long story short, I ended up having to cut that off because I couldn't. I had already made the mistake. There was no going back from that. Shortly after, I met a guy who told me, just straight up, don't touch your purse when you with me. And I was like, okay. And I hate the fact that I had to go through that with the first guy, because I'm not the type that doesn't want anything from you. Like, and I don't want to come off as the type who doesn't want anything from a man, when in actuality, I want it all. I want it all. So I don't want to give you the wrong impression. We just need to stop beating ourselves up for wanting something from a man, because they want things from us, and they are not ashamed about that at all. Okay? They're not ashamed about it at all. And on top of that, they always try to hit you with the, you want it too. So I'm like, well, dang, you know you want to provide, you want to protect, like, you want it too. Yes, I have money, but I want you to spend yours. Thank you. And there are different ways that people describe femininity. Like, some people describe it as just girliness, pink glitter, sequins, frills, and some people describe it as more spiritual, resting, receiving. And from my experience and my research, I think that it's more of being a receiver, and maybe it's a combination of the two. The way you look and the way you interact with the masculine energy, which would be looking feminine, dainty, soft, and receiving, grateful, nurturing. To me, the process is like this: we attract, they pursue. When they come, we embrace, we nurture, we are grateful for them, we bring them peace, and they in turn provide, protect, cover. They're like the gardeners, and we're the gardens. So to summarize, in conclusion of my whole soliloquy and my whole dissertation, don't be ashamed of being a feminine woman. It's anatomically, naturally, and spiritually who you already are. Just embrace it and don't beat yourself up for being it. Check out Anabe. Check out Simply Shanika. With Kevin Samuels, eat the meat and spit out the bones. And don't listen to his audience at all. At all. And just get your femininity back. Because believe me, you will enjoy it. And when it starts to be more of your natural personality, the men will enjoy it too. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please be sure to like it and share it, and leave me a comment in the comment section letting me know what your favorite part was, or what your thoughts are on this topic in general. I cannot wait to get more consistent with these episodes, because I still have a lot to say, especially next week. So please tune in for episode number 7 about, should I say who it's about? It's about the Kevin Samuels audience. Yeah. So I'll talk to you guys then. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.